Hey folks, continuing our playtesting sessions for our local modern champs in about a week. I won the die roll and then my opponent, so my opponent won the die roll, and here we're playing again with Abzan Fauna, but this time against Blue-Red Storm or Past in Flames combo or Blue-Red Ascension, any way you want to call it. So I would be on the draw here, and that actually is a big crucial factor here in this matchup. It is really a nasty thing to be on the draw here. My hand is relatively decent. He is also fine, but he's not aware of my starting hand, of course. So starts with fetch land, goes to 19. He pretty much cannot keep a hand without any 1-mana cantrips, I assume, unless it's post-sideboard games and a bunch of rituals into Empty the Warrants or something like that. But game 1 you cannot keep a hand without 1-mana cantrips. That's a fourth cover. It's interesting that he does that on his turn, even though it's an instant, so giving me extra information. If it would have been a big tournament and we would just meet and do not know what each other plays, each of us, but he would probably do this anyway, so here there is no reason to not do that. It's like F6ing on Moto. I know what he plays in this case, so just saving some time, but of course you don't want to reveal that extra information too quickly. So here I crack Verdant Catacombs, go to 19. Just shock myself with Overgrown Tomb so that I can cast my spells on curve and not restrain myself anyhow. My life total doesn't matter a whole lot here. He doesn't really have stuff like Snapcasters and Balls. That's a kind of all-in deck, at least game 1. Game 2 he would probably side in some Balls or some bounce spells and try to win a kind of semi going off with Empty the Warrants. So I start with Inquisition of Kozilek. I pretty much have to, because I know what he plays, and I decide not to take Goblin Electromancer here, so he has 3 more lands, Goblin and 1 Ritual and a Grape Shot. I do not take the Goblin because I simply have Abrupt Decay in my hand, and that's a big spoiler for him and something to really worry about. So, and I don't care about the Grape Shot here. He can, maybe shoot a couple of my mana dorks, but that's a small thing. And I decided to take a Ritual because that kind of gives him the opportunity to go off like with a big Past in Flames and so on. And Grape Shot, it doesn't matter if I discard it because then he can just flashback it with a Past in Flames. And on his second turn, of course, he goes into Second's land, Blasting Maya, fetch that, crack that, goes to 18. From his side, I think he has to be a bit more cautious about the Shocklands and fetches and attacks and probes, because I am basically a creature deck which is capable of going just beat down mode sometimes, so smart of him not to take a Shockland here. He does have enough lands so to get those extra blue resources. That attacks and probe here is kinda tricky. I probably would have played it first and then cast a Goblin maybe. just to see what's going on and to see what I draw. Basically have 2 more lands, Abrupt Decay, Fauna, Shaman, Arctic Pontiff, which is awesome here. Post sideboard against his tokens, and then the Revelark, which doesn't really do anything here, but I can of course cycle it through Fauna Shaman. So now he saw what's up in there, why I kept the Goblin in his hand, because I had the Decay. So just fetch in here a forest and then decaying his Goblin right away, because I wanted it anyway. And of course he could get Ascension into play, and then maybe I would rather want to destroy his enchantments, but I don't know. Allowing him to untap with a Goblin and play is a tricky thing, because then he can chain a few rituals and cantrips and instant speed, and then okay, Goblin dies, and then he just casts Past and Flames or something. So just don't want to give him the opportunity to play out his hands too quickly. So yeah, just pass the turn here. So he doesn't have much action going on here, but neither do I. Aggressive attacks and probe here to draw. I wonder what he tries to dig for. Okay, Shivan Reef, that's fine. So he doesn't really have anything yet. That means, unless he draws something awesome, my Fauna Shaman's gonna get me something sweet. Yeah, I'm playing him the Shaman and tapped, got the Shrine, and the turn he plays Desperate Ravings, draws a couple of cards, then I need to choose one. He would discard at random. So he pitches Grape Shot, that's really good for him, but he didn't really get any great action here. Plays out another land. Okay, plays out another Goblin. One great main deck card which is quite good in this matchup is Scavenging Ooze, so I pretty much have to get the Ooze here. So my life total doesn't matter a whole lot. Going to 14, I can still gain it back with whatever I want. Yeah, so cycle Pontiff with the Fauna Shaman. Revelark could be decent well in the mid game to kind of try to race or get back those cards that I discarded or something like that, or if he decides to go small Grape Shot to kill my Ooze or something like that, I can get it back, things like that. And he's already at 14, etc, etc. So yeah, I'm getting the Ooze, casting it, keeping 1 mana up, and then passing the turn. There is no way I could respond in a good way to for the... Well, here I could have responded, but for some reason I decided not to, because, well, that was kind of my mistake here. In response to him cracking the fetch, I could have eaten up his Desperate Ravings, and if he would have played smarter, he would just probably let me... Well, he would probably just take the turn and cast it if in response to me trying to activate twos or something like that. I don't know. but the point is, like, once I allowed the fetch to resolve, him getting the land, so even though I get the priority back, but then like if I try to eat it, then he uses it up in response, because it would cost 2 thanks to the goblin electromancer in play. So I shouldn't have resolved his fetchland, and should have just eaten the ravings there. On the other hand, that keeps me vulnerable to him milling himself for Pass and Flames or just casting it. So this way, this lets me to, I don't know, attempt to fizzle him or something. He doesn't draw anything good here. His hand is just a bunch of lands and rituals. Pick one, so yeah, ritual, nothing special. But if he would draw, let's say, and has to discard like a Past and Flames here, then I can hit it, and then he is in a very bad shape. So it's really hard to say whether I should have just eaten it straight up and made myself vulnerable on his turn, or just wait and see what happens. But the good point is that Pass and Flames is a sorcery. That means at the end of his turn, I should rather start eating up his cantrips and rituals from the graveyard. He plays the lands, then decides to cast Manwerthos, and doesn't crack the fetchland before it to clean up his draws. That's a strange play from him. So all he needs to do here is just to draw into Past and Flames, because he has enough mana, he has some rituals. Just cast Ascension here. Yeah, decides not to use the mana from the Shivan Reef, just 2 mana from the Manamorphose. Passes the turn. At the end of his turn, I decide to eat one of the cantrips. I believe I went for a Serum Visions or Foot's Cover. Yeah, it's better to eat up like those 1 mana cantrips than the Manamorphose, I feel like, because they dig more. Well, of course, eating Desperate Ravings if they're awesome in his graveyard at first. Okay, going pretty low here. Fetchland into some green Shockland, because I cracked Marsh Flats. But that doesn't matter, with I have some creatures in graveyard to lose in play, so I can hit up some of my creatures, and all I need to take care of is just to prevent him from going off. I attack with both of them here because I can just eat up a creature from my graveyard, and so his goblin doesn't trade with my ooze. I don't really care if he trades with my shaman here. I don't really need to get anything anymore, as long as I have ooze in play to eat up his spells from the graveyard. So he decides to fetch in response, which is weird. What is he trying to get? Oh yeah, he just took all of that damage. I decided not to make my ooze bigger, just to keep more mana up to eat up his grave. Yeah, he goes to Slaughterhand, sure. He's just trying to dig for the Past and Flames here, because I can only activate my ooze 4 times. So if he gets lucky with some cycles here, he could try to get off, plus he could easily charge up to Ascension here. And the way Pyromancer Ascensions work, that even if I eat up something, so he just casts things, and the counter is still there, so I cannot really fizzle it when he casts something. I mean, I can eat up stuff from his grave, some spells with the same name, before he casts something. But yeah, he will still get a counter in this kind of situation. So the way that Ascension works, because it triggers when he casts things, and it's checked not on resolution but when he casts. That's apparently the way it works, so he gets the counters on the Ascension here anyway. Yeah, charging it once, charging it one more time, so it's charged up, but he still doesn't have anything. So then he just passes the turn. At the end of his turn, I just see like how many cantrips he has already there in the bin. I can hit 4, so as I remember, I just ate up 4 of them, and there were 5, so all but 1. And then on my turn I can basically keep him with maybe just a couple of rituals in the graveyard. Township doesn't really matter here all that much, but it gives me a better clock. Still have the Traveler in hand, don't really need it there yet. Oh yeah, I felt like I drew the Witness, so Witness for decay from my graveyard, then keep 1 green up, just in case, decay and Ascension, just to make sure everything is well set. He just has like 1 land in hand. Yeah, he could trade with the Shaman, but that's about it. So he's at 4. Draws and casts Sleight of Hand as just Forgecover and Ascension. There is no Past in Flames because he can keep like probably Forgecover. Then if he mills up Past in Flames, I believe I have an opportunity to respawn and eat it at some point. So he casts Forgecover, mills himself, draws Desperate Ravings. He does mill Past in Flames, but in response I can knit up everything that matters. Or if he does something in between, I can just eat it up. And I believe at 4 life there's just no way he could go off. He cannot really sacrifice his fetch lands. He cannot really use the Chivalry for colored mana. He doesn't have enough going on in the bean to just go off. Yeah, and he cannot really use life lost from the Jetaxin Prep, so we go to game 2 here. I have a lot of things that I can sideboard here. Additional discard in the form of 1 Juris, in addition to 2 Inquisitions and 2 Thoughtseize in there. 1 Golgaricham Wensing Collector, 1 Entomber Exarch, which can return back, I don't know, like a Scavenging Ooze or just Juris him. Nemeomancer is very marginal, but I can play around it myself, but it would be pretty hard for him to do that. So I'm kind of trying to negate his fetch lands. I'm not sure, it's probably incorrect to bring it in. Maelstrom Pulse kills both his Goblin and Ascension, so another card in addition to his to Abrupt Decay in my main. Plus also the Maelstrom Pulse kills once again all his tokens from Empty the Warrens if he sides in that plan, and I think he probably should. Maybe not that many, but 1 or 2 copies of Empty the Warrens at least. Rhetoric is kind of clunky. It's much worse than a double Exarch in here, because I wouldn't really have much time for combo, and it doesn't really matter. I thought of maybe taking out one Fauna Shaman, so leaving 3 in there. All I need to fetch for is probably like Scavenge News or maybe like Sync Collector. I'm thinking of taking out the Archangel Spike Feeder package because it's too slow in this matchup. Voice of Resurgence doesn't really do anything because most of the stuff happens on his turn anyway. So those were pretty easy to take in. I can actually take out 5 cards here and not 6 because I'm playing 61 card in the deck. So those are my options. But Fauna Shaman gets me anything. But if I take out 1 Fauna and 1 Revlark, I can keep the Archangel package in. So just this discard spell plus decay or something like that, and then I can quickly win and steal the game with this 2-card combo. Because he doesn't really have good ways to kill my mana dorks. Okay, he has bolts, but this blue-red storm deck doesn't really play Anger of the Gods in the sideboard. It's very rare. So I'm not sure exactly what his sideboard looks like. I can only predict because I played the deck myself for a little while, and I just don't like it that much in the metagame right now. In the kind of big event metagames full of tween decks and especially junk mid-range decks or big Abzan decks with Path to Exiles, discard spells, Lilianas and Decays, and very fast clock. So combination of those things really makes Storm not really that great on the big meta game, but for smaller events it's still quite solid. But you really need to have a lot of experience with the deck, otherwise it's really hard to have really good results with it. It's a deck which needs a lot of practice and a lot of calculations, and you really need to be able to do all that with a very good speed. Otherwise you could easily end up in a draw or make some stupid mistakes. So you really have to kind of play somewhat automatically with the Storm deck. I shipped this hand because, well, it does have some combo pieces but no disruption whatsoever. It does have some lands, so but yeah, it had some lands. Viscera Series Spike Feeder, something else, maybe Archangel, I'm not sure, but still overall pretty slow hand. No mana dorks in there, so I feel like that combo was too far away. If he just casually goes off turn 3 or something, plus he's on the play here because he lost game 1. Yeah, and I can just afford to mulligan even down to 4. Let's say if I just have some lands plus maybe mana dorks and some disruption. This hand is pretty good. I have a Thicket into Noble, into Fauna to find anything. I have some form of disruption with Decay and so on. And I'm on the draw, so almost any land is good here because then I can fetch up a Black Source and destroy Goblin or Ascension. So pretty expectedly, so he fetches turn 1, goes to 19, gets an island, casts Serum Visions. Here you see that he drew the Blood Moon, which was a bit of a surprise for me, although not so much. I didn't play Blood Moon in the sideboard of the Storm deck myself when I played it, but it's definitely a great card in the sideboard for the Storm, because with the fetch lands you can just fetch all the basics, just fetch a bunch of islands and maybe one red source, then cast Blood Moon off the basic mountain and screw up your opponent, give yourself a bunch of free turns, and just in a very relaxed manner while opponent struggles who tries to find an answer for the Blood Moon, you just simply go off. It's pretty sad that they can still cast something like Relic of Progenitus or Gravedigger's Cage, and then you're screwed a little bit, even with the Blood Moon in play. Yeah, I just go my Razorberry Speaker into Noble Kirag. Yeah, she went away from him. Just goes on to cast a Ritual and the Blood Moon. He should be at 18 here, yep. Because of the Chivalry plus fetch lands. Kinda annoying here. Luckily I did get to play turn 1 mana back, and I did have the plains here, but that was not the basic land I was looking for, and I have only 1 plains in my deck. The swamp would have been like way better here. On the other hand, it's not so bad because I can still just with the green mana from Noble and Fauna Shaman cycle some creature and get the Birds of Paradise and cast it next turn and still have like all the colors for all the hate cards, but that buys him so many turns. So yeah, still I would say kinda timely Blood Moon on his part, which he actually cast turn 2 thanks to the Ritual, and he was on the play, so that was really great for him. He messed up with the fetch lands. He couldn't actually do all that, crack a fetch land, get a Steam Dance, because yeah, fetch land was already in play and Blood Moon shuts it down. So yeah, please folks, be careful with your known basics and Blood Moon. Whatever deck you play, probably like this deck or Splinter Twin deck. Yeah, just goes to cast Electromancer here, and goes to cast Manamorphose here, floats a couple of mana, cantrips, draws actually Past and Flames, which is really sick here. Cast the Past and Flames here, I don't know why. Well, he had like 1 mana left. Oh no, wait, 2 mana left from the Ritual. So we see if he can go off here. So he has enough of mana. I can't really do anything. He casts a bunch of spells with the Electromancer in play. He has a lot of things going on. So flashback some cantrips, etc. Sleight of hand, looks at top 2 cards. Oh no, it was Scrying from the Serum Visions, sorry. Yep. But then he was kind of running out of gas here. Had some cantrips in hand, some blue mana left, and especially a bunch of red mana left. So he just needed to keep the train going. He's tanking a lot here. Whether he should just stop here and try to do something next turn, or go all the way. Yeah, he's out of blue mana after that force cover. He lost 2 ratings which he cannot cast. Just another blood moon. So yeah, he basically fizzled this turn, but he still could flash back next turn the Past in Flames. This is quite risky. If I would just draw another, green source, like a basic forest or something, it will be really bad for him, but whatever. Yeah, with the leftover red mana, he just decides to cast another blood moon. In case I draw decay, I would be still locked down with the second moon. Yeah, I do draw the basic swamp, which is pretty good here, but I'm still kind of short on colored mana, which I need. Have Thoughtseize in hand, some other things. I could cast Thoughtseize here and then end the turn, cycle some creature and get something like Scavenging Ooze. Yeah, but I cannot quite do that many things here. Yeah, I cannot fetch a Scavenging Ooze and cast it this turn. That's the annoying part. I decide to attack for free with the Fauna Shaman because I cannot really do that many things. Then I decay the goblin so that perhaps he would be short on mana or something to go off. And then he drew another one. Such a bummer for me. And decides to cast Serum Visions. Now, okay, draws something, scries, and tries to see whether he could go off this turn. Yeah, but a couple of Ascensions which he doesn't quite need, I thought at first, but he keeps it on top, which is weird. Yeah. I'm very caught off green here. It's good that I drew like basic swamp and basic plains with his blood moons in play, but with only 1 green I couldn't just do that many things here. So yeah, I could only do like 1 thing per turn or something like that, which is really not enough. I could go as far as to say that if I would have had from the start like 2 green sources, that means he wouldn't have those blood moons in there and have something else, then I think I was favored in this game, but the way it shaped up, it was pretty hard for me to do anything, because I knew that I pretty much had to do something here, like cycle something to get a Scavenging Ooze. I could have played like a Thoughtseize, but then I couldn't do anything else, kind of. So I decided just to play Pontiff to kind of have more clock in play. I still had a fodder for Fauna Shaman with Spike Feeder, so, and he was empty-handed, so Thoughtseizes didn't do anything, and I couldn't cast Spike Feeder. Yeah, that was pretty much my only decent play here. Yeah, the trigger from Pontiff doesn't really do anything here because I wouldn't want to attack anyway, and it doesn't kill the goblin. So yeah, just pass the turn here and hoping for a miracle. He takes his turn, draws, cast the Pyromancer Ascension, flashbacks the Desperate Ravings, draws 2, then has to discard 1. It's random. It doesn't quite matter, as we know now. It's just a ritual. Well, it doesn't matter which ritual it is for the Ascension. Somehow I get another turn, so at my ends I cycles and Tomberg's Arc because it's a double black card. It's good, but not that good here because he had the chance to cast everything already. Yep. So sometimes I really miss Shriekmaw in this kind of deck, but I feel like it's pretty bad right now. Everything that I actually want to kill is still black. It occasionally kills like Tarmogoyfs and stuff, but that's still not great. Decide to fetch a Well of Fruits here, because I can cast it and still have green, so essentially it's almost the same. And I still have another creature in hand, Spike Feeder, so I can still fetch the Ooze here. If I would just fetch the Ooze there instead of the wall, it wouldn't really make a difference, because I wouldn't have another green to activate it here. This is kind of better. So that's I get an additional green source for the future. So yeah, guess let's see, he's discarding the last ritual from his hand. That is kind of better because of Ascension in play. I mean, it was fine Thoughtseize there. So I cast the Well of Fruits to fetch the Scavenging at his end, and then I could cast it and have green up next turn, or basically just eating his Passion Flames. If he would have bricked here this turn, I would have kind of locked up the game here, but instead he actually turns out to have enough of stuff going on, because of so he just drew, I think, another ritual, so then he flashbacked the past, flashbacked everything else. With the rituals charged up his Ascension, so everything he casts is double, so he can start to chain spells and get the train going. So double Sleight of Hands and stuff like that, and double Serum Visions and so on. He had enough of blue mana here. We do not use the dices here because he either has it here or he doesn't, because he knows that probably next turn Ooze is coming down and it's his Passion Flames, and then he cannot really do anything. Cast the Ravings. So that's another Passion Flames. We see if he can do more stuff here. But as I remember, he did have like yeah, he could have done it better if he would have sequenced it a little bit better. The way it turned out, he would ran out of blue mana and couldn't cast all the other cantrips, like including that was card, because he messed up with his blood moons. He should have fetched basics and so on. Alright, thanks guys, bye.